Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, subscribe, yes. You saw by the title, kicking out your kid at 18 is abuse. And it is abuse. And people act like it's not abuse, but it is. And yeah, I'm going to talk about the school system, parents, everything. All right, let's get into the video. Yeah, so it is abuse. I thank God that my parents didn't kick me out at 18. They always wanted me to have my own, but they always still took care of me. Why? And I'm 24, and my dad still takes care of me and my mom. I take care of myself, but if I needed something, they always right there. And I thank them for that. Okay. Y'all really got to go to therapy. I always say this in every other video. I always say this. Because your mom kicked you out at 17, 16, that doesn't mean you got to do your child like that as well. What happened? It's like a code switch. I be watching these videos. It's like, it's performing. As a kid, they taking you to McDonald's, getting you a Happy Meal. They being there for you. It's like, you know, they taking you to Sky Zone. They taking you to amusement parks. They take you to concerts. What a parent should do. They buying you Christmas gifts, Valentine's Day stuff. You bring it to the school. They're bringing cupcakes and stuff to school. All of that. They're doing what a parent's supposed to do. But one thing I realized, it's like, especially online, it's like as soon as the kid turned 18, y'all hate the child. You're like, get out. You're like, get out. You're straight up like, get out. I don't want you here. I want you gone. And I hate that. I really do. I hate it. I really hate it. Because was your love ever real? Was your love ever real? Was it? Was your love ever real? Was it? Was it ever real? You want to kick me out at 18 years old. 18. You want to kick me out. You want to kick your flesh and blood out at 18. Mind you, the school never gets you prepared. This is nothing. The school I went to, luckily, they kind of taught us, but they kind of didn't. One of my teachers taught us how to do taxes. I think it was on QuickBooks, one of those. He taught us how to do taxes. I thank him so much. I really wasn't paying attention like that, but I remember it now. Well, actually, I lied. I did pay attention because I really know how to do it. I thank him so much. He taught us how to do taxes. Then I took this class. It was like something like adulthood after high school. They took us to apartments. And we went apartment hunting. We went as a field trip. And my friend at the time, we was having fun. But like, you know, we was looking at like what we had to pay. And stuff like that. And I remember, I'm not used to paying for water. They wanted us to pay for water. I said, oh no. I said, oh no. And I said it loud, and I think the person heard me, but I'm like, girl, I'm not paying for that. In this Matchbox house place. It was in the Matchbox, but I'm like, you know how these apartments be trying to get you, how the amenities is so beautiful, but the apartment looks tore up? Yeah. Now, if I was going to pay water, the apartment better match up with the amenities, and it did not. I was like, oh no, I think you have to pay for gas and water or something. But the water really threw me off, because I'm like, girl, I don't pay for water. The place I stay at, I don't pay for water. So what I look like paying that? But I thank them for that experience, because it really did help us. And also, we took cooking classes in the program, in the elective. We took cooking classes, and we was learning how to cook, etc. And I thank them for that. In health class, when we was going, they never taught us how to, they never gave us the baby, like the fake baby that be crying. They never gave us that. I wish they would have, but they didn't. But overall, I felt somewhat ready. And I thank that for that. But a lot of these schools don't have that, and that's what really pisses me off, because I feel like a lot of these schools need that. They need that kind of program. But back to the parents. You know how hard the real world is. Even if a school gets you prepared, you know you're not really paying attention. You want to know why? Because you got to do homework. You got to do tests and tests on tests on tests. You got to always memorize stuff. So you know by the time they graduate, you know their brain is shifting. They got to relearn. When you go out, you got to relearn like immediately. That's why people go right to college. You got to relearn. But as a parent, you know that. You know how hard it was for you to be on your own at 18 years old. So why would you want your kid to suffer? And this on Fact Talk, what's his name? What's his name? On Fact Talk, Craig. He's speaking about how he's speaking with T.S. Madison. I love her. I love T.S. Madison. He was speaking about her about this situation as well, but speaking about this part where he was like, you know, how a lot of black parents, they don't make, like, it's like they, as soon as you turn 18, like, they want you to pay rent, but it's like, why you not putting up, like, teaching them how to make a savings account? Yes, he should pay, like, their phone bill and stuff like that, but it's like he said they should, you know, a lot of that money should make them a savings account, you know, because at 17, 16, I remember when I was working at 17, 16, my checks was like $300. That was it. So you telling me you want my whole check? $300 for like 80 hours. It was like a lot. They never wanted to pay us kids doing all that heavy lifting. But you expecting, what, half of his check for rent? Seriously? When that's your responsibility? And now you want to kick him out because you want to kick the child out because they don't want to help you? It was never their job to begin with. At 17, 16, you need to sit down with your child and teach them how to save money and how to pay bills. You let them know, hey son, this is how I pay rent. Take them apartment hunting, etc. You know, get them to know. But just to kick them out and just let the world just do whatever, you're a terrible parent. You're abusive. You performed it the whole time that person before they turned 18. You performed. You straight up performed. And then people want to act like, oh, you know, why your parents still taking care of you at such a, you know, old age? Like you're this, you're that. Baby. Just hold on, I need some water. Just because a child turns 18, that don't mean parenting stops. It does not stop. And you have to be careful as a parent who take care of their child after 18. You got to be careful what company you be around, you know, type of company you got. Because I noticed that a lot of my parents' friends got jealous. Are you still taking care of your child? Ain't they 17, 18, 19 now? Damn, you still take care of your kid? Damn. And you're mad at my parents for still looking out for me? Because you kicked your kids out at 18, now your kids don't want to talk to you? Now you want my dad and them to suffer? That's how people are, y'all. That's how they are. But it's abusive to just throw them out. Where are they going to go? You never taught them how to save. You never taught them anything. You never taught them the value of money. Do you wonder why they spending like crazy? You never taught them the value of money. As a teenager, though, you should know that. You know they're going to just ball out. That's a canon event. A teenager, when they get a job and make their own money, they always going to ball out. Let them ball out for a few times, but then teach them discipline, like, hey, you need to be careful all this spending this money because this real world is not easy. You got to tell them the truth. You got to tell them the truth. You got to. Because the world is not. The schools is not going to help them. The schools is not going to help them at all. Not. Luckily mine did. But not every school is like the one I went to. And, you know, people like, I don't want to talk about that right now. But back to what I'm saying, how it's abusive. It is abusive because your kid don't even know how to grocery shop. And this is another thing. The parents that want to kick these kids out are the main ones that coddled them since baby. Like, what I mean by that, they never, ever had them. I clipped my clothes. I washed my clothes. I started, like 16? And my parents was still looking out for me. But I started doing my clothes, I think 16? Was it 16? I think 16 or 15. 14 or something. And we was, yeah. I think 15, 16. I don't know. I think it was like 13. I think it was around like 11, 12. 11, 12. My mom and them started this stuff early. And I'm glad they did because, and we could have been able to move out at 18, but they never kicked us out. They didn't just say, you need to leave. They never said that. They slowly, you know, preparing us for the real world, preparing us like, you know, one day you want to get on your own, kind of hinting like, we don't want to kick you out, but we want you to be in the real world. You know what I'm saying? Preparing you. Y'all not preparing y'all kid. Y'all not preparing them at all. But then be confused why they come right back to you. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I gave y'all clothes. I did. Baby, you never taught them how to do laundry. You never taught them how to cook. You never taught them how to save money. You never taught them anything. And now you want to throw them out? And you're shocked at why they keep coming back? What did you teach them? What you taught them by throwing them out, being abusive like that? You taught them to never trust anyone. But baby, you taught them, just never trust anyone. But you taught them that the people's close to you, which shouldn't be happening, will never, ever be there for them. As a mom, asking your son for $500 in rent is insane. Asking your daughter for $500 to $600 for rent is insane. All you should be asking them is to pay their phone bill. Because one thing, I wasn't working long hours, and I think that sometimes I was, sometimes I wasn't. But I noticed that like a lot of these jobs were trying to make me like an adult. Like, baby, it does not matter that I'm 16, 17. That don't mean I need to be working like an adult. They was keeping me to like 10 o'clock. Some of the times I just did it because, you know, I was young. But it was like looking back. And plus, I love the money. But back then, I'm looking back. I'm like, they was treating me like an adult. And my dad, you know, my parents, they didn't really like it because I ended up quitting the job. But like, sometimes it just wasn't, because it was mostly on the weekend. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. But a minor is not supposed to stay after 9 o'clock. Okay? They're not supposed to stay at a job plus 9 o'clock. You know? But I wasn't working, like, when you're after school, you only can do, I was working, 4 to 8, 4 to 9? Yeah, 4 to 9. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6 hours. Then sometimes it was like 4 to 8. So you're not really working that long. And you're expecting your son, your daughter to pay $500 rent. I think I was working I think I was working like twice. I think I was working like twice a week. I think twice a week and then on the weekends. So I think I was working like Mondays and Fridays and like the weekend. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days out of the week for 2 weeks. So you know the checks is not going to be big. They need to give you minimum wage, $11, $12 an hour. And you're expecting your child to pay rent. My parents didn't. I was spending like they wasn't asking for it. They already knew. And people will take this like, oh, you think you're better than us. I don't think I'm better than you. What my parents did, that's what parents are supposed to do. Y'all parents just don't like y'all because their parents didn't like them. But it's so sickening to me to see these parents just kick their kids out after all those years of giving them love. It's so weird. Why would you just kick them out like that? That is abuse. And then rent now is insane. The job market is insane. And you just kicking them out? And you know what they say? Well, God told me to do that. This is why I don't believe in religion no more. This is why I don't believe in God no more. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. I don't have time for it. I really don't. I don't have time for it. I just, this is why I don't believe in God. Because it's just, it ruins so much. And it's just religion. It's just, but one thing I will say this when I'm going to be done. A lot of white people don't kick their kids out. A lot of them don't. But also, they gave them a backbone, a safety net. Why do you think it's so bad for your kid to have a safety net? Why do you want your kid to suffer in this big world? You know how tough this world is. Why do you want them to suffer? What kind of parent are you? What example are you teaching them? What are you teaching them? Bye.
Right straight out, look in.
Look in. One quick question.